Welcome to Community Life. I'm standing with TA Thompson Balloon Rides of Orlando. We want to talk a little bit about what he's doing in this mission. Could you explain what it is, your mission that you're doing?
Sure.
And,
Well, we offer balloon flights each morning at sunrise in the Disney area, 7 days a week, all year round. It's about a 3-hour program. We do a briefing before the flight where we introduce pilots and explain what goes on. We go out and we fly for about an hour. We have a little champagne ceremony after the flight and then bring everybody back for an all-you-can-eat breakfast buffet. So you pick whatever day you like, and then we have everyone check in with us the night before the flight to double-check weather for the next day.
and I appreciate your patience for our technical issues.
No worries.
Now, let me ask you this question. In a balloon, we talked earlier about how the air is different and how you control it. Could you explain a little bit more on that?
Sure. We use different layers in the atmosphere to navigate. As we change altitude, we will find different layers that move slightly different directions and different speeds, and we can use that to navigate our flight path. Think of it like three-dimensional sailing. Change your altitude, change your direction. But we can only go wherever Mother Nature gives us a wind layer. So if you're flying and you want to turn around and go back, you can't necessarily do that because there may not be a wind layer going that direction. Most days we'll have about 30 to 40 degrees of change in the atmosphere. So if you took a piece of paper and you drew a 40-degree V, if you launched here, you could go anywhere in that V downwind.
Okay. So let me ask you this question. Has there been at any time that a storm, Florida always creep up real fast, has there been any time that you've gotten caught out there that you definitely need, just to secure those who are worried about it? He knows what he's doing, so
well,
has there been any time that you actually got caught in a storm?
There have been times where we've had rain develop that we didn't expect. Not a storm. The convective forces that you need for a storm, we wouldn't even attempt to fly in something like that.
Well, you know, down here in Florida, the sun
Understand
is out,
right.
rain comes. So what do you do when it rains?
Well, you don't. You stay on the ground.
I'm saying if you're up in the air, I've been out in the morning, it looks sunny, it looks nice, and all of a sudden,
Well, you've got a very good vantage point from the sky.
okay.
You can see stuff building. You can see stuff a long ways away. And here again, if the convective forces are such that that is a possibility, we're not going to be up there.
Not going to be.
We're just not going to be up there. It's kind of like if you've got a nice suit and there's even a chance of rain, you're going to take an umbrella.
Yeah.
Right. So you're going to plan for that. And with this, once you get airborne, it is very difficult many times to find a suitable spot to land right away. So if you've got conditions where the weather can change that quickly, you just don't even go.
Now, you spoke of earlier that you go in schools and you've talked about this. Do you have any upcoming events that you're going to be at that if somebody wants to know?
I don't yet. I think the next one will probably be in February. It'll be an FAA safety seminar.
Okay.
I do a lot of guest speaking for the seminars. Last year, my topic was navigation and technology. How you use today's technology to help you navigate the balloon better. And we actually have programs that we fly with on iPads.
So that's your GPS.
Well, we also use GPS as well. We've got a flight planning tool on here, and we've also got a flight log that actually tracks your in-flight progress, shows you where you're going to be in the next 10 to 15 minutes if you maintain your altitude. It also shows you where all your landing spots are, and it records your altitudes and your wind speeds and directions.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Put aside all the technology. What is the history? And I know there's 100 years worth of history? Over 200. How did they navigate back then versus what you're doing now? Because I'm sure at some point, you know the wind. You've been out there. Exactly what were their navigations back then?
Map and compass.
Map and compass.
Which is how we all learned how to fly. When you first learn to fly, you must learn how to do map and compass navigation. Because when everything else fails, you've got to have something to fall back on. Now, your compass will never break.
Okay.
Right? Compass. If the compass quits working, we've got bigger problems.
Bigger problems. Okay. So back then, did they do the balloon thing to send it up to sea, or how did they figure out which way the wind going?
Smoke.
smoke, cigarette.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused because when we talked earlier, you said we're going to go up another level. That may be going this way. Go up another level. It may be going to the right and to the left. So what are you doing with the smoke? You saying it was fire on this thing?
You build a fire
Inside of there.
No. You're asking how they figured out what the winds were doing.
While they up.
Oh, while they're up. No, it's easy.
We have a navigation.
Yeah, when you're flying, you look at the ground, you look at your compass, and you can judge your altitude.
Okay, but what I'm asking you is, right now I'm feeling the breeze going that way, I believe, correct? We're up in the air. Back then when they went up in the air, you have a compass now, and you also know, if you, as you said earlier, when you go up a certain amount, you can tell the wind is going this way. If you go up another, it's going that way. How did they know how to find those amounts back then?
They didn't.
They didn't.
What they would do is they would build a fire on the ground. And then they'd throw a bunch of wet leaves and make it smoke as much as they could. And as that smoke rose, they watched what it did. And that's what gave them the indication of what's up there before they got up there. Now, once you're airborne,
Right.
as you're flying, you're making a map in your mind of where these layers are as you go up and down. As you change your altitude, you watch the change in your direction on your compass. And then you make a map in your mind that at 400 foot, I'm doing 200 degrees. At 500 foot, I went to 220 degrees. At 600 foot, I went back left to 200. And so you literally make this map in your head vertically.
Vertically. You know what? I'm used to the ground.
Kind of like
I'm still sitting here trying to imagine.
I know.
It sounds easy, but I'm still sitting here trying to imagine for me to make a map here and then go up another layer that's going that way, and then I'm going to guess that I'm going to go up a little higher. So let me ask you this. Are they finding two ways here, and then they just stay within that? They didn't go up no higher?
Oh, sometimes they went higher, sometimes they didn't, depending on what they wanted, where they were headed. Now, if you climb up to 500 foot and you're headed toward an area where there's swamps, then you don't want to go there. So you're going to go up higher or come down lower and find a different layer that's going to take you in a direction that you want to go.
Okay, well, I understand. My only issue is I don't have the technology. I'm up in a balloon. And we're floating. Swamp is right there. I have no idea what this other layer is going to do. Suppose all the layers are going that way.
I'll tell you.
Now what happens?
An interesting story.
Okay.
And when it comes to making the map of the layers in your
That's
mind,
what I in my mind, yes.
it's kind of like imagine in your head driving from your home to your grocery store.
Okay.
Imagine the turns that you have to make.
Right.
Because you've made that route 100 times. So you could do it in your head. Well, it's the same thing we do with the layers.
No, I understand what you guys
Oh, okay.
do. I'm talking about back in
then.
time. It's almost like
Well,
I want to meet somebody who
very similar.
used to run a boat and
Yeah.
figure out exactly how did they map considering. And we look at movies today that supposed to have been back in that time. They didn't have a GPS running through the woods. They didn't have nothing. So obviously they used something or had to know something. Trackers. They know something we don't use today.
Well,
or they were better than us today.
A lot of them used landmarks in those days. A lot of them had maps that were made by other people that explored the areas.
Okay.
And when they explored an area that was new to them, they would make notes of landmarks and such, whether it be physical notes or mental notes, so that they could share with other people. Same thing with the balloon. Even if you took all the technology away, we would still fly pretty much the same way today as we did then.
Okay.
Is by changing altitude and looking at what the different directions are, and then using them to navigate.
Okay, well, I'm trying to vision you up there and me up there, and we don't have no technology.
Well, that's how I started.
can see land map. I can get that. But to control it and drop it where you want it, that's the other part.
It's difficult. There's a timing involved. And then to make it even more fun, when you turn the burner on, nothing happens for 20 seconds.
So you could be going down if there's an issue. Okay.
Yeah. Think of driving a great big cruise ship. When you turn the wheel left, the ship doesn't automatically turn immediately left. It takes a long time. Yep. And because you're dealing with a balloon that is the size of a 7-story building, there's a long delay. So when you turn the burner on, it takes about 20 seconds before you get the full effect of that motor. So you've got to do everything in advance. So a real good example. Imagine driving your car with no brakes, no control over the speed of the car, and a 20-second delay on your steering wheel. Now try to get your driver.
Right. So you got to think about it.
And you've got to adjust for whatever speed you're doing. Because how far ahead you turn the wheel when you're doing 2 miles an hour is a whole lot different distance than if you're doing 20 miles an hour.
Okay.
So when you're flying the balloon, you've also got to take into consideration how quickly you're moving in the wind to determine how far ahead you want to be able to turn the burners on.
Now another question
So
for
you
me.
hit a bunch of stuff in the beginning.
Okay. Another question that I like to know: is there certain clothing that you prefer when the people come, or could they come as they are?
Well, what we tell people, if you dress so you're comfortable outdoors, you'll be fine in the balloon because you'll actually be about 8 to 10 degrees warmer in the balloon than if you stayed on the ground from the heat of the balloon. And we're floating with the wind, so there's no wind chill factor.
Floating with the wind, so there's no wind chill factor. Okay, explain that a little bit.
Sure. The balloon literally floats with the wind.
Right, I got that.
So kind of like imagine being in an inner tube in a river. You're floating with the water.
Okay.
There's no water rushing by you. You're floating with it.
Okay.
You're moving because the river's moving. You can see the trees on the bank going by you, but you're not doing anything. You're just floating in the water. Well, in the balloon, we become part of the air. And so as the air moves, it carries us with it. So there's no wind chill factor.
Okay. Now here's what we will be doing. We'll be coming up with TA Thompson, getting lessons so people can learn about his knowledge on different series. So maybe one series you may want to do is concerning one object, understanding the wind and current. And we'll be coming up here talking to him and getting more involved in the balloons. Is there anything you'd like to say to them?
No, just if you've not done a balloon flight, it is not a scary thing. It is one of the most peaceful things that you'll ever do in your life. If you go to our website, there is a guest book where you can read the comments from hundreds of our past passengers.
And you want to give them your number and your information?
Sure. The website is thompsonaire.com, and that's air with an E. So THOMPSONAIRE.com. Our phone numbers and everything are all on there, as well as the history about our family, and all about the balloon flights. And there's 47 pages of information.
And you can follow the link that will be below the video, and then we'll look to hear from you, and we'll be coming up here getting more of his knowledge on how to fly a balloon. Thanks a lot.
You are welcome.